I started this seminar about 10 years back, actually, and I promised myself that I would never, ever invite a politician to speak from this podium. In fact, quite regrettably, 2 or 3 years back, I decided not to let one person speak in favor of Ron Paul. Now, I have, over the last few years, changed my mind, and I have come to see that probably there's no solution to the problems of the Western world unless we first change the political system. I have, over the last few months, come to like a Canadian party called People's Party of Canada, run by Maxime Bernier. I would like, before we break for coffee, I would like to invite the local candidate of PPC to speak for a few minutes about People's Party of Canada, and then we'll break for coffee.
Thank you, Giant, for your invitation. It's been said that people get the government they deserve. Around the world, we see nations tending towards very different forms of government. The strongman model is found in many African and Middle Eastern cultures. Totalitarianism is present in some Asian cultures and elsewhere. And while we might not like it, it seems likely that these various forms of government probably represent the most stable political solution possible for each cultural situation. What are we then to make of US and increasingly UN policy that intervenes by attempting to impose Western-style democracy on the third world, frequently by coercion and by the use of force? Western democracy itself seems to be moving further in the direction of totalitarianism. Is this entirely the result of a cultural shift in the West, or are other factors at play? A culture of liberty requires free speech so that citizens can peacefully stand in opposition to coercion. My full name is Robert Douglas Bebb. Please call me Doug. I am the People's Party of Canada candidate for the federal riding of West Vancouver, Sunshine Coast, Sea to Sky country. For those that don't know, the People's Party of Canada was formed in late 2018, and we are well on our way to running a full slate of 338 candidates in the federal election coming up in October. Last count was something like 211 declared candidates. This is well past the 90% threshold of 204 candidates required to put our leader, Maxime Bernier, on stage for the leadership debates. Like me, the vast majority of our candidates are political rookies. This is a good thing in the sense that we are not motivated by those things that attract the usual political suspects. Power for its own sake, self-interest, ego. I know I speak for many others besides myself when I tell you that we entered politics not for personal gain, but because we are convinced it's the right thing to do, the right thing for Canada at this sad point in our nation's history. We don't like the path that Canada is on, and we're determined to set our country on a better one, a path based upon freedom of inquiry, freedom of conscience, and particularly freedom of expression. We note that the cult of political correctness has recently upped its game from one of merely restricting politically incorrect speech to one of a compelling, officially mandated speech. Laureate Professor David Haskell, our PPC candidate for Cambridge North Dumfries, has produced some excellent podcasts on this topic, and I would encourage you all to watch them on YouTube. Nowhere was this made clearer to me than in the recent town hall meetings where many of our recent Asian immigrants to Canada have expressed their horror that these types of speech controls now have a foothold in Canada. For a time, these recent immigrants thought they had escaped such oppression leaving it behind them in their countries of origin. Giant has allowed me to address you briefly here today, and I thank him for the opportunity. Without going into details, the People's Party of Canada has many other policies. These policies are generally informed by Jeffersonian views of minimum control by central government and the sanctity of individual rights. In the terminology of Mises, the People's Party of Canada might best be described as pacifistic nationalist, dedicated to self-determination, peaceful nationalism where possible, and the division of labor through free trade. We are conservative to the core. And as Andrew Scheer takes the legacy Conservative Party further towards the center, we are likely the only true conservative choice remaining in this country. I'll be with you in the audience for the entire day. We'll be joining you for dinner. I have brought a bit of promotional material. I'll be happy to answer any questions during breaks or after the conference. Thank you for your time.